The U.S. Space Force has awarded prototype contracts under President Trump's Golden Dome missile defense program. Joining us to discuss is Rick Fisher, Senior Fellow at the International Assessment and Strategy Center and International Military Analyst. So, Rick, good to see you. President Trump said, quote, we will have the best system ever built. So can you describe for us what would be the biggest benefits of the Golden Dome missile defense system compared to traditional defense systems?
Thanks for having me. For 50 years, the United States has been debating whether to have a national missile defense program. Donald Trump ended that debate in January this year, and it's amazing. Americans have been living under the threat of nuclear attack for generations. Donald Trump's Golden Dome initiative will help to alleviate that threat. He plans to spend up to 175 billion, most likely much more, to create an initial national missile defense capability before he leaves office in 2029. The most recent contract award that you mentioned was for the first phase, a space-based interceptor system that will attack incoming nuclear missiles during their boost phase or just after they're launched. This is the best time to attack such missiles because they have not yet deployed multiple warheads, which would be much more difficult to shoot down. A second phase will work on a ground-based interceptor missile system that will deal with missiles that have achieved much closer proximity to the United States and will also be much more useful in defeating submarine-launched ballistic missiles. But look, the Russians and the Chinese do not want to limit their nuclear missile capabilities. China specifically refuses to limit its nuclear capabilities and is building its missiles. It could have 1,000, perhaps many more warheads by 2030. Creating a national missile defense is perhaps one of the most useful ways to gain and achieve some kind of control, to build an incentive for China and Russia to enter into real nuclear weapons reductions negotiations.
So how much would you say, given what you said just now, Rick, how much does the Golden Dome weaken bad actors' ability to threaten the U.S. with missile attacks?
It will weaken their ability to attack us significantly. And by reducing the utility of their nuclear offensive systems, it will build an incentive. It will build a deterrent from using those systems in the first place and to consider the advantages of actual arms reductions negotiations all around.
But I'm also wondering, Rick, if this missile defense system can undermine an adversary's confidence in their missiles' capability to strike the U.S., China, for example, could that also mean they're incentivized to build more missiles and more advanced ones, just so that they still have the ability or the confidence to use these missiles as a threat against the U.S.?
Yes, that is certainly a logical outcome. And the United States can build more missile defenses to counter them. But at some point, it's simply going to be useless to build ever more missiles. And at that point, it is expected that our adversaries, especially China, will begin to understand that it is far better to negotiate mutual security by reducing nuclear missiles rather than building ever more. The goal here is to convince China that it cannot achieve nuclear superiority. Now, China is also building missile defenses, and that's fine. Missile defenses are not necessarily able to kill people, only kill missiles. So, negotiating a system in which missile defenses cancel out missile offenses is the real goal. This was the dream of President Ronald Reagan. And I remember that because as he was making these proposals in the mid 1980s, I was beginning my career in Washington, D.C., and I'm elated that President Trump is finally realizing Ronald Reagan's dream and ambition.
So, Rick, you brought up China's missile defense capabilities, and I just want to follow up on that. I'm wondering, how does China's missile defense system compare with that of the US's?
Well, China has an initial ground based missile interception capability. It is now producing a ground based interceptor that is capable of taking down incoming intercontinental ballistic missile warheads. It has been working quietly to build a national surveillance and interception capability, the radars to detect incoming missiles and to target interceptor missiles. It has been cooperating with Russia to build this strategic defense capability. And the United States, unfortunately, has had little to say about it. When China really started pushing for this system back in the early 2000s, the United States should have taken note and should have accelerated our own national missile defense program at a much earlier date.
Okay, Rick, I just have one more question, and it relates to what you said earlier about building ever more advanced missiles. So we know China currently has developed hypersonic missiles, right? And these are supposed to be really fast. Can the Golden Dome intercept these missiles?
Well, yes, in their boost phase. A hypersonic glide vehicle is much more difficult to intercept because it is maneuverable. It can also fly at a depressed trajectory closer to the Earth, again, making it more difficult to intercept, which is why you want to shoot down this missile in its boost phase just after it's been launched, before the maneuverable hypersonic glide vehicle detaches from the launch stages.
So you're saying once it detaches, then it's rather difficult or impossible to intercept?
Well, it's very difficult to intercept. But as long as it's attached to its launch stages, it is far easier to intercept. And the first contracts that the Space Force is releasing in these past day or two are focused on a space-based interceptor, anti-missile interceptor that is far more capable of intercepting missiles in their boost phase.
Right, Rick, that's about everything I'm wondering about this topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.